Oh no, conservatives are gonna go crazy on this, dude. Oh God. I think you need to arrest the DA. There, I said it. You need to throw the fucking whole ass prosecutor in jail for doing this. I'm sorry. Oh God, reopening this and then also turning around and saying the FBI accidentally destroyed the weapon. The irony is, every single gun nut knows how easy it is to fucking break. Maybe not fully, but like break an older weapon. Accidentally come the fuck on, man. I mean, dude, why? You have to think, why would the FBI do this? Are they just like, did Alec Baldwin actually want to kill the director of photography? And if so, why, in the ever loving fuck, would the FBI hide the truth? You are defending the FBI now? No, this doesn't mean I'm defending the FBI. There's a difference between the FBI rizzing up and grooming an autistic 16-year-old Muslim into, attempting to do an act of terror so they can fucking arrest and apprehend, versus being a part of this like massive cover up where Alec Baldwin somehow, for no discernible reason, killed his own director of photography in broad daylight by cooking up this crazy scheme, knowing full well that the FBI would come in, swoop in, and defend him and destroy the murder weapon.
Functioning weapon that through the course of multiple rounds of testing, the gun pieces inside the gun ultimately failed, causing destruction. And that's what Alec Baldwin's team seized on, saying, look, the gun itself, there were problems with it. But, I went back to law enforcement, to, the prosecutors asking, and they indicated that no, at the time that the weapon was used on that set, analysts believe that it could not have been fired without someone actually pulling the trigger, which I think finally is why, as you look at these charges, this all seems to center around negligence. I mean, it's right in count one, negligent use of a firearm. If you are someone who is in possession of a
I don't think it's super crazy to investigate the guy that was holding the gun that killed a lady. No, I don't think that's crazy at all. There's a difference between investigating someone and then indicting them on involuntary manslaughter charges. Especially after like especially after the first time, like bringing that back up 3 years later, I think it's weird. Thanks for the technical details, Gunweaves. No, I think you're pro gun control until it's a big Hollywood liberal. That's crazy. Dude, I don't care if Alec Baldwin literally gets thrown under the fucking prison for anything else. The point is, if you're going to ask me what I think is going on here, it smells like a prosecutor who is trying to make a name for themselves. Okay? A Hollywood set, ironically, despite the fact that Alec Baldwin did accidentally shoot and kill his director of photography, Hollywood set does have rules and regulation. Of course, when there's a gun, there's still a likelihood, as is the case with any situation, where you can accidentally kill someone. Right? But overall, if you're talking about regulation, there is a shit ton. There are a shit ton of rules and regulations surrounding a set. What's the story? I'm under the impression that he thought there were blanks in them or have gotten this messed up. Yeah, I didn't even know he said he didn't fire, which I think is weird that he said that. Yes, that is how Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son, died on the set of Crow. The entire point is there is never supposed to be a live round in the gun. Okay? That's it. There is never supposed to be a live round in the gun, especially on set. You can't do that. The entire purpose of the armorer is to ensure that this does not happen. There's additional checks of safety that need to be put in place, or that is put in place that was not followed on. The people that did not follow on those checks are the responsible parties here and should be punished for it.
Functioning firearm, and you point it at someone and you manipulate that weapon, whether that's the trigger or the hammer on the gun, and it goes off and someone dies, are you responsible? Prosecutors here saying ultimately yes, or I should say a grand jury coming now and saying yes, that Alec Baldwin should be indicted on those criminal charges. Of course, we'll wait and see what happens next in the prosecution. There was always this question about, early on whether Alec Baldwin would plead to anything. His team was adamant that he wasn't pleading to anything, that he determined or believed that he was innocent of these charges. And again, that statement we just got from his attorney say that they look forward to having their day in court. And then the final point I'll mention, as Ariva centered on, which this is so important, is that we're not talking about a separate group of prosecutors from the original team that filed charges. This prosecution has had all kinds of issues. At one point, there was one person who was brought on to the prosecution team. It turned out she was a Republican legislator in New Mexico, a legislator in New Mexico who was also working on the case. The Baldwin team cried foul there, saying, look, this probably...
No, the prosecutor wasn't clearly biased and politically motivated evil lib. The prosecutor is a Republican, in my opinion, and is politically motivated because Alec Baldwin is perceived as an evil liberal who has said a lot about gun laws. I think it's because he's anti-gun and then shot a gun and killed someone, which is of course ironic because yeah, dog, that's the reason why he's anti-gun. It makes sense to be pro-gun laws because even in the most remote circumstances where there's heavy regulations surrounding a controlled environment, you can still end up having an accidental discharge that takes a life. That's kind of the whole point of why we need gun control. But unfortunately, Republicans straight up cannot see past the first point, which is Lemau, ironic that you want gun control when you killed someone with a gun. Oh, God. This is probably my most libbed up take, straight up.